Oh, my goodness. I don't know what to do because yesterday there was another signal that I'm in a place I don't recognize, some sort of parallel universe. I'm listening to the president and he's saying, hey, we've reduced the deficit and I've reduced it $350 billion in my first year in office. Okay. So is this president reducing the deficit? I mean, is this a good thing? And then I realized, no, that's just a word play. I didn't slip through a wormhole. That's just him comparing what he's done to the worst year in American history for deficits. So it's like I couldn't think of anything else I could do to spend money.
It's a pretty fancy trick. You make everybody stay home and not go to work and then say you've lowered the deficit when they go back.
Right.
That's wow. That's what an impressive job you did when you were all arguing for no one to have jobs. Mm-hmm. And now you can sit back and say, oh, well, now that people are back to work, things are slightly better.
Right.
Congratulations.
Right. And then yesterday I hear Mayorkas say, no, this administration's policies didn't cause border migration. And I'm thinking to myself, so is it a coincidence that all of a sudden it gets really bad? I mean, how do you explain that? And then I realized we don't explain anything in this universe. Logic? What's that? I'm sorry if I'm using that and you didn't slip through the wormhole with the rest of us. I'll explain logic some other time. And then the head of the Fed, where I come from, the head of the Fed, his main job is to keep inflation under control. You know what I mean? But apparently not in this one. It's crazy. You really should visit my universe. It's so much easier. It really is. Anyway, so the head of the Fed here in your universe, he came out yesterday and he said, the economy is actually doing quite well. And then I realized you people believe it. See, where I come from, we wouldn't have believed any of that. But there's a few of us, I'm sure there's a few of us out there that are like, no, Glenn, I was in the same wormhole. I woke up in an America I didn't even recognize. And I thought it was just America. Then I realized it's the whole freaking world. And I'm like, yeah, I understand, brother. I understand. But did we slip in yet a crazier universe when President Biden said this about the GOP yesterday?
What are the next things that are going to be attacked? Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.
In American history? I mean, that would include the Klan. Maybe you guys didn't have that here. Where I come from, the Klan was an organization started by the Democratic Party. I know it's crazy, right? It probably didn't happen here. But we had one, and people were like, that didn't start with the Democratic Party. No. I have the documents right across the yard. Well, I used to yesterday. I don't know if they're still in that vault because I don't know. Did I start that thing, collecting American history here in this universe? I don't know. Gosh, I wonder who I'm married to. Yeah. I bet it's Blake Lively, right? Sure it is. Anyway, so here's the thing. It was started by the Democratic Party, and it was to stop white people and black people from pushing for a vote and a voice for black people. Isn't that weird? Because that would be a political organization that was extreme. Because, they were hanging people from trees. And I don't mean legally either. Their only crime was they thought black people should have a vote. So that was pretty extreme, But maybe it's just me. Where I come from, we have this group called Antifa and the Black Bloc. Oh, man, you want to talk about extremists? They want to destroy all of society. They don't believe in freedom, really. It's kind of like the Nazi Party, where the Nazis were like, we're against the communists because they want slavery, and then the communists were like, we're against the Nazis because they're crazy and will kill people in camps. And they both did the same thing. It's kind of like that. In fact, it's exactly like that. In fact, Antifa were the people that were saying that about the Nazis and the communists. They were like, we're communists and we don't like these fascists. It was them. That's when they started Antifa, And then you had Black Lives Matter, at least in my universe. That was pretty radical. I mean, in my universe, maybe you don't remember this. It didn't happen. Thank goodness if it didn't happen in your universe. But they burned the country almost to the ground over a summer. No, it wasn't like a week-long thing. It happened the entire summer. And in my universe, the Democratic Party, they were so radical, they were actually bailing these people out of jail. And then there was this guy, George Soros, who was getting people, and putting them into positions of like the district attorney. And those district attorneys wouldn't prosecute anybody. And they were all Democrats. It was so extreme and so weird. Again, not my original universe. Because in my original universe, again, the government would have said, I don't care who you are or why you're rioting. You can't burn cities down. And they all would have gone to jail. Whether they were white, black, left, right, didn't matter in my universe. So, who's also kind of extreme? The black Hebrew Israelites. Yeah, right? Really extreme. Or the Weather Underground. Did you guys have that, or do you only have the Weather Channel? Because the Weather Underground was crazy. Or the May 19th Communist Organization. Or. Now, maybe here, Louis Farrakhan is like, I don't know, a scientist or something. I don't know. I just got here apparently last night. But in my universe, the guy is a crazy terrorist. Okay, the guy is nuts. Big following. Very extreme. Very political. In fact, the last universe I was in, wow, this is weird. The same people that were bailing people out for BLM, that thing that started all the fires in my universe, they also lock arms with Louis Farrakhan. So that's really weird. Do you guys have Twitter here? That's another story. It's crazy. Oh, how about the Black Panthers? They were pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? They were pretty darn bad. Maybe you don't have them. Or ELF or ALF. Oh, Animal Liberation Front. We had that. The Communist Party USA. That's a pretty bad extremist organization. Let me tell you something. This is so crazy. And you may not understand it because you're apparently from this, unless we all slipped through a wormhole last night. But it's crazy because where I come from, when you're standing up for a thing, I don't know if you have it here, it doesn't appear so. We have something called the Constitution. And what that entails is a Bill of Rights. And so everybody has the same right. You know what I mean? And they don't even come from the government. They come from, do you guys have God here? Again, it doesn't seem like it, but let me explain God at another time. But we have a God that gives us rights, and the government has nothing to do with it. In fact, the Constitution says the government cannot do anything to harm these rights. Okay, it's a crazy idea. You should look it up. I don't know. Maybe it'll be in a sci-fi book or something. I don't know. But we have these rights, and then these people, they're mainly people that don't want anybody to have rights because they think they know best. I know, it's crazy. And they're usually, like, follow the science. But they don't even do science, They don't even, it's like these people had never even read. And they, and then they're like, we've got to save the earth from people. And they look at people like people are a disease, and they're like, this is the biggest problem. We wouldn't have problems with people if we just didn't have people, and they don't recognize they're people too. Oh, crap. Are those people here too? Wow. Well, in my universe, the ones who support the Constitution, they're not extremists. When you say everybody should have the right to speak out, everybody should have the right to, follow their own internal dictates. They should be able to go and we call it pursue your own happiness. I know it's complex. But we believe in that, where I come from. And those people weren't ever called extremists. It was the people that wanted to destroy all of that our president would have said is an extremist, But people standing up for the things that everybody believed, in fact, changed the entire world for the better, those people were just called normal. It was the people who wanted to destroy all of that and the rights and say, like, you ready for this one? Oh, crap, I bet you have. Do you have them here? Because they were in the last universe. People were like, men can have babies. You don't have that no, you don't have that because I just heard Gavin Newsom and he just said, men can't have babies. So it's relax a little bit because at least this universe is not as crazy as the one I was in yesterday. All right. But those were the people that would be called extreme. People are like, there's no difference between a man and a woman. I can't define what a woman is because I can, And what's crazy is I grew up around like 300 million people just in my own country that were like, yeah, that's a woman. Yeah. See her over there? That's a her. See that over there? That's a dude. Even when the dude was wearing makeup and stuff, you could still go, that's a dude. Or that's a dude, but she makes a fine looking woman. You know what I mean? We could do that. And not be called extremist. Well, good news is, even in this universe, nobody's spying on you. The government's not tracking your every move and you still do have freedom of, I better check into this universe before I say any more.